I'm Big Alias. Okay, first things first, I really think they need to quarantine my town. They need to pronto, because for Christ's sake, I've had 3 colds in a month and a half, and at my local supermarket, sold out of Lemsip. There's no cold and flu tablets or sachets or anything. We're fucked. We're cooked. Speaking of which, today we're going to talk about politics due to my new, we're cooked anyway, policy. But man, I don't know, it's so difficult to talk about this because just prior to talking about this topic, which is something I've wanted to talk about for a long time, but things have got in the way. I'm just reading more stuff, and it's getting to the point where I feel as though I'm reading too much, and we really need to shake the American Republicans and say, guys, you're the fucking Nazis. Please realize this. You're calling us woke. Please wake up and realize that. But today we're going to talk about DEI hiring, because shit, I just thought we'd do something fun today. So for somehow I'd initiated DEI. It's diversity, equality, and inclusion. It's diversity hiring in I guess businesses, and it's something that is being widespread banned. It's actually being made illegal because apparently the Earth rotated at exactly 88 miles an hour and went back in fucking time to a point where we didn't realize that we needed this. And that's the thing. I think to kick things off, immediately, I should say straight off the bat, that if you do agree with banning these, then you're not going to like this video, and based off of what I know, I'm not going to be able to change your mind. There's going to be nothing I can do. Your head is firmly up the arse of whoever agrees with you, and there's nothing I can say that's going to change your mind. I could give you the facts right in front of you, and you won't move, you won't budge. It doesn't matter. But anyway, it's it's really annoying, honestly, because one of the big issues that we have with this is, honestly, allow me to phrase it like this. See, the thing is, what people don't realize is that DEI, diversity hiring, which we all know what it is, it's not a matter of we swooped in and decided this is something we need to do now. It's a matter of over time we realize that it's something that has to be done. And that perspective is what it all comes down to. It is something that needs to be done. It has to be part of the integral framework of hiring. For reasons that I'm going to get into this video, and it does frustrate. Obviously it frustrates me, and I'm not a fan of the discourse of this. There's a lot of discourse in terms of gaming. A lot of people will say this really asinine, stupid, and borderline evil thing, where they'll say that video games, because obviously my field is gaming, but video games, entertainment, everything, your products and services are not what they used to be because companies are too focused on these DEI hiring, and so the product and the service is worse. And I fucking hate that viewpoint so much. It is so stupid, so smooth-brained, so low intelligence, but also, like I said, kind of evil, because that whole thing, the whole statement presupposes that anyone who isn't straight and white and probably male is inferior. It is not going to be as good, just prototypically, it is not going to be as good at making the product or performing the service as a straight white and probably man would be. And that is ridiculous. And you may be thinking, well, no, that's not what we're saying at all. But it is. I mean, if you really feel that way, my brother in Christ, you do not understand how hiring works. And as a matter of fact, you don't understand how probably most things work, because I can tell you with all certainty there has never ever been anyone in a position where they could hire someone where they've sat there and they've gone, well, I mean, look, this person has no experience in this field, no qualifications in this field, they don't know anything about it, they've never programmed anything, let alone a video game before, they don't even really play video games. But I mean, we have 200 whites, we need to hire at least one black, so okay, yeah, we'll go for him. No, that's not what would happen. Firstly, okay, if you're in a position where you have that many, white employees, yeah, I think some introspection needs to be done. And that is one important part of this. One thing that everyone seems to ignore is that these diversity and inclusion measures, they come in at a certain point. If you're at a point where you're struggling to, match this quota, then some introspection needs to be done. And if you have 200 white employees, you're like, well, we need to hire a black guy, then there's something amiss there. But also, that's not what would happen. What would happen is you would reintroduce the ad, keep the ad going, wait for an employee who is potentially a person of color, who is qualified. You're not going to avoid the fact that someone needs to be qualified in order to do the position, you moron. That's not... You fucking idiot. You still have to be qualified to do a job. You can't just come in off the streets and be hired because you're not white. There are still people who are not white, who are not straight or whatever, not cis, who are gonna be qualified for the job, and they have those qualifications. Do you know how many fucking people there are? Do you know how many people there are in the world? So many. And they're all looking for work. And that's when we come into how oddly ironic and poetic having this stance is, because obviously this is a very conservative viewpoint to have, which seems to be the trendy thing at the moment, uber conservatism. But all of these conservatives saying that we need to get rid of all of this. And the ironic thing is, conservatives famously hold another viewpoint, which is everyone needs to work. Oh, we've all got to work. Even if your leg's falling off, even if you can't move, everybody's got to work. It will set you free. Work will set you free. Who else said that? They are obsessed with everyone working. But also, not if you're black. Because honestly, and these are not my viewpoints, please don't, I don't feel this way at all. I agree with these, I agree with the diversity acts, but if we boil it down to its very essence, what you're voting for is, it's not the ability to avoid anything, to make more money, to help the economy or anything like that. You are purely giving people the ability to say, again, this is not my viewpoint, it's very disgusting in my opinion, but you're giving people the ability to say, I don't want to hire you because you're black. That is it. Or I don't want to hire you because you're gay. I don't want to hire you because you're not cis. That's what it comes down to. It doesn't help anyone. It's not benefiting anyone. So essentially what's going to happen is you are going to end up with a lot of people who are just unemployed, who can't find work. Poverty is going to be at an all-time high. Oh my god, homelessness, dude? Whoa. That is going to look terrible, which is ironic, really. I really think that it's not going to look good on Trump. It's not going to look good on Trump that he enforced a bunch of these rules and then poverty was at an all-time high. It's really not going to benefit with that, because you are going to end up with a bunch of people who live in states where it's really racist here, or it's really sexist, and there's nothing to protect you. So, sorry, you're shit out of luck. We live in a system where look, capitalism. That's the system that we have. We don't have any of the other ones. We have capitalism. It's very important that everyone works, unfortunately, especially with the way that these economies are, particularly in the US and the UK. So with things the way they are, everybody has to work. It sucks, and it shouldn't be this way. This is not what humans were designed to do, but we've all got to do it. Except some of us can't now. Some of us are just not going to be able to find work because of the way that we were born. A person of colour cannot not be a person of colour just in order to find a job. They can't do that. That's not the way the world works. So hey, you're going to be in poverty. And I understand a lot of people, again, this is not my viewpoint and I don't think this is good, but a lot of people think this is good because it's going to curb stomp immigration, and it's going to stop immigrants from coming over and taking a job. It's going to stop stop immigrants come over and taking our jobs. I'm saying taking our jobs, but in a cousin fucky way. Yeah, it's gonna stop them from coming over, which is just really stupid. These jobs are not. Okay. So the thing about this, and the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is, like, yeah, on the surface, okay, so the immigrants will come over, but they won't get work, so they'll stop coming over. There are a few things that you have to ignore in order to believe that. Firstly, these diversity and inclusion things, they do come with a lot of caveats that don't help a lot of people. For example, if you are an immigrant with a degree in your country, you could easily come to, get a job over in the US, and they could say, I'm sorry, but your university isn't really recognized here, and it doesn't really, fit the criteria of a university over here, so unfortunately you don't have the qualifications here. Or they could say, something along those lines. And unfortunately, the thing about a lot of these perverse nations is that they don't have the money for good education. So they won't have the qualifications that they need to come over and take these jobs. That's why a lot of them, unfortunately, only end up taking the jobs that you don't want to do to begin with. And another caveat to this would be assuming that the immigrants only come over for work. That's not true. They come over because their country is war-torn or dangerous, or they're escaping something independent to them, or maybe their country has a more lax law in terms of something that they absolutely need, some surgery, or anything. There are a myriad of reasons, but the biggest one, I think, is that they live in a dangerous country. Then they're still going to flee. They're just not going to be able to find work, which again will increase the number of perverse people and people living on the streets, which, by the way, benefits no one, not even the billionaires, because when you don't have people working, you don't have people in work, then you don't have people buying things, and that weakens the economy. And even for billionaires, that's not beneficial. Sorry. And so it doesn't make sense. You're not going to lower immigration by doing that, because that's not how that works. All you're going to end up doing is denying Americans work. You're going to end up denying Americans who don't really fit like the criteria that you like work. And again, you're going to end up with a bunch of perverse Americans, homeless Americans, and the same goes for the UK. Currently the wave is happening in the US, but it's going to come over here. We all know it is. It's making its way to Canada and what have you. And we're just going to end up with more homeless people, more people living on the streets, more perverse people. Not perverse, more people living in poverty, and that's, like I said, it's not beneficial for anyone. It's not going to. None of this is going to benefit anyone, other than someone who just wants to be racist or wants to be homophobic or anything like that. This isn't going to benefit anyone. It's not going to help anyone, and it just doesn't make any sense. It blows me away. It blows me away that people think that this is like some net benefit. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that. I'm sorry. Like I'm so sorry that all of this is happening.
The PlayStation is only $149, and you can also get leading titles.